So the BC government announced a new housing initiative providing up to $40,000 of forgivable loans to homeowners within the province. There's a lot of people who have a lot of opinions and a lot of thoughts on this video. And today we're going to talk a little bit about some opinions, but mostly just the facts. How do you qualify, who can qualify, and what to expect going next? So let's get into it. So when the BC government announced a $40,000 initiative to bring secondary suites into the province, I think it took a lot of people somewhat by surprise. Now, for most, they're wondering, well, how does it actually work? And it was a really vague announcement. So for today's video, we're going to break out specifically who's expected to qualify, how you can qualify, some of the rules and restrictions, and of course, what you need to know if this is a plan. Now, remember, some of this information is still being ironed out. So if we don't answer all the questions today, of course, always make sure to reference back to the British Columbia website, which we will link down below so you can check in and see if there's been any updates or any changes. And as always, this is not legal advice, so make sure to get your own. This is Alex McFadden here, mortgage advisor and wealth expert with Flow Mortgage Co. And if you haven't already done so, make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, give us a little bit of love, and share this video out with your friends if you found it useful. That would help us a lot. So a little bit of an introduction. The BC NDP government has been pushing hard to make all sorts of different changes to try and fight this housing crisis, which is taking over all of Canada and most major cities. There's no surprise that there have been a lack of housing starts, a lack of housing supply, and house prices just continue to keep going up. Combine that with higher gas prices, grocery costs, and everything else in between, they're trying to figure out different ways to make housing more affordable. Now, one of those ways to do so is to add more potential housing and specifically rental units to the population. With a population growth of over 1 million people in the last 12 months alone, we need houses, we need properties, and specifically we need rentals. And believe it or not, for all those haters out there, rental suites and secondary suites, including laneway homes and basement suites, is one of the best possible ways to quickly get rental suites into the marketplace. Now, is $40,000 enough to incentivize people to rent out their properties? Well, that remains unknown, but the BC NDP is going to give it a shot. So let's give you a rundown on specifically the program and what to expect. So first of all, the program details. The actual program itself is set to target up to 3,000 homeowners in British Columbia. Now, I don't know how they got the 3,000, but that's the number that they told us. They specifically are going to allow you to build a new basement suite, garden suite, or laneway home, which is eligible. It is not eligible to renovate an existing current suite in your existing property. Now, it's important to remember you must be a Canadian citizen or you must be a permanent resident to actually qualify for this program and for any forgiveness program. And the market value or the property value of your home when you get qualified for this program must be less than $2.125 million. Now, they have not released the specifics on this, but we assume it's probably going to be based on the assessed value of the most recent year that they'll try to qualify you. If there's any other information surrounding the actual property value, make sure to again check out the website as we discussed below. So how the actual loan program works is they will forgive up to 50% of the actual construction, design, and implementation costs up to a maximum of $40,000, which means if you qualify and your actual construction and design costs for $80,000, they'll forgive up to 50%, which is a max of $40,000 of that total cost on your existing property. But hold on, you still have a few other factors that you need to have to qualify for the loan. Number one, your overall income as a family must be less than $209,000. And in addition to that, you also must qualify using and paying attention to any of the municipal zoning, which is a whole other conversation. How are the cities going to react? Are certain cities just going to all of a sudden allow this to happen? We think not, but that's another question for probably a later video. So some of the requirements are a key consideration. Let's break down the specifics of being able to get this forgivable loan. Number one, you must actually make sure to rent out your property below the rental cap rate set by the BC government, which will be available on their website for at least 5 years, which means you're probably collecting less rent than what's readily available at any time. Something to consider. Number two, in addition to that, you cannot rent this out to any immediate family, friends, spouse, or anything of that nature. It must be someone who is not related to you that you are actually renting the property out for. And number three, this loan itself is actually paid back over a period of 5 years. So each year that you qualify, they will pay back 20% of the loan itself. So it doesn't actually happen in one lump sum. So that means in year 3, if you have to move a family member into that actual unit, you'll have received the first 2 years, which is roughly 40% of the total cost forgiven but the remainder will not be. So some considerations: applications are going to be on a first come first served basis. This is happening in April of 2024 that we'll actually see this program get launched. We think that we're probably going to see a big lineup of people at around that timeline. So what are our thoughts on this particular program? Well, as a general overview, the BC NDP has made a lot of changes to try and add in rental stock since they came into power, specifically since David Eby took over office in the past. In the last year, he's made changes including changing the strata rules and guidelines, making virtually all strata units rentable, changing the way that the age-restricted properties work, and realistically working very hard to open up stock. Now, not every single one of his policies has been a knock out of the park, and in fact, you could probably argue that many of them haven't been, but I give them credit for trying. Consider the fact that piggybacking on top of the announcement that Vancouver is also opening up to allow duplexes and triplex and many other different types of building on a single lot. This is good news. In addition, we've seen other municipalities follow suit and open up the concept of laneway homes and other types of multi-unit types of properties in their backyard. So whether or not this is a good program or a bad program, I would like to give them credit for actually coming up with something that seems like it could be useful. The rental cap rates that I've seen don't seem too bad depending on the area that you live, and ultimately, if it comes down to it, this could provide you with the ability to actually build a basement suite and have an incentive to do so. I don't think it will convince nearly as many people who aren't renting to rent out their property, but hey, it provides an incentive for the other people to hurry up and get this thing on the go relatively soon. This will open up rental stock and provide more opportunities for families. Rest in peace, any parking on any road, anywhere after this happens. And of course, we'll see obviously how this works in the eyes of lenders and other considerations outside of that. But I'd love to get your feedback. Do you think this is a good program? Will you use it? Do you have questions about it? Do you think this is a failure? Either way, I would love to hear some feedback for you. So make sure to leave the comments below. And of course, if you like this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We'll see you on the next one.